to put ourselves into that. It's like I don't find the word now. Sorry.
That's
No.
right. You carry on. I know you,
It's very important that we strive for a world where people really can be themselves. For me, that's important, because otherwise we can't use all the talents. You only can your talents when you're not safe, when you're not feeling comfortable to be yourselves. If you have a secrets to hide, it costs energy. And if you don't have to do it, then you can fully employ your talents. What I've noticed, because I've worked with several networks, also a network for neurodiversity, the young people, people with different backgrounds, also religious, also cultural backgrounds. We have some networks in the organization, and we're always talking about minority and majority. And what I find out lately is that what about majority? Who is part of a majority? Because when we look into that group, there's always differences again. So for me lately, I think the majority doesn't really exist.
Well said.
Yep.
Well said. So it depends how you divide the cake.
Yep.
You end up putting people into different boxes, don't you?
That's
you either go into this box or you go into
Yeah.
that box.
Yeah.
But of course, really, people
Yeah.
are.
Well, as a majority, you get used to being put in a small box, the box of that minority.
And you become the box.
You become the box,
Yep.
and then we have different kind of small boxes with all kind of minorities,
Yeah.
and then we think we have a big box with the majority. Only that big box contains of all kind of small boxes again.
And the box doesn't exist really. It's a construct, isn't it?
It's the construct. It's a human construct.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And in the end, that's what, like Jung said, like what we work with, every person is unique. And that is what we have to appreciate.
So, professionally, what's the biggest problem some of the companies you work with face? Is it leadership? Is it a question of inclusion? Is it one of culture?
For me, it's actually one word: unconsciousness. Not being conscious of your own way of looking, your own way of judging people, your own way of discriminating. It has led in Holland. It has led to major problems, also politically. I work for the Ministry of Finance. Within that ministry, we had a big trouble with what we call institutional discrimination.
Oh, really?
And and right at this moment, the discussion goes on because the public says you're a bad organization. You need to improve. How can you, as a CEO, how can you appreciate your people? Because your people, they are beasts. So that's the public opinion. And then within the organization, when our leaders communicate and they say we have to acknowledge that there have been some problems with institutional discrimination, then my colleagues, they react furiously because they think, well, that's not true. I don't discriminate. It's not me. Within the we are tolerant, and we think we are tolerant, but we don't recognize the fact that as an organization we have been discriminating. So that it's a big difference between how it's looked at from outside in and from inside out.
So it's a question of perception.
It's perception and it's awareness. Okay. It's to be conscious about your own way of looking.
So tell me, how has using Lumina's products helped you solve this and other pressing problems?
I think solving the problem is a big word. we addressing it, we are working on it, we are addressing it. Well, what I do with Lumina, I mainly use Lumina Spark because that's the basic, but it's really it has so much potential.
Yep.
What we do is have teams, management teams, slow down. So out of the rat race, slow down, reflect, and then really give attention to each other. So normally we have workshops like half a day. We take half a day and then the rest of the day we are going into the rat race again. What we do, we start at 9:30, we have an hour lunch, and then in the afternoon we finish around 3:30, which is like half a day. But what we want people to do is to take the time to really be able to see each other again. And that's what we get back when we give our workshops. The instrument is just the basis.
Yeah.
And what we notice is that the instrument is an accelerator for the process that we want. The process of, it's funny, it's an accelerator for slowing down.
It's a paradox, isn't it?
And it's a paradox, yes. And so what we do is people really appreciate to get to know, this is the way I look to the world, this is the way I look to my colleagues. This is, the awareness is enough to change the way the team is functioning and people are cooperating.
So the key step is self-awareness.
At the same time, I was striving for the Declaration of Amsterdam to be signed within the Dutch government. That has taken me years, and probably in October it is going to happen, but I'm not sure yet, but I hope in October it's going to happen. And then I had the idea, well, this matches so perfectly because we are talking about appreciating the differences between people. So I made a suggestion to Stuart with the declaration to sign it, and it only took a few weeks, and then he said, I'm going to do it. So that's a big difference. My work in Holland for the government, there it takes years, and here it is just a few weeks. So it's all about valuing people. And that's Lumina, and that's inclusion. For me, it's becoming one.
Indeed, different ways of being, different minds and souls.
Now that's why I like working with Lumina, because Lumina doesn't put you in a box. And I didn't come out of the closet to be put into a box again by an instrument. I don't want to do that.